Alright, we're here with the Strixhaven draft commentary now. Here coming in cramped from a 7-person table, squeezed right next to another 7-person table.
We did wacky for like 6 weeks.
And we've done wacky a lot, yes. I don't think I've ever drafted Strixhaven in paper before. I've done it a lot online. Maybe did some sealed. I can't remember if there was a pre-release for it. No, I don't think there was. Alright, so this is kind of a mix of a pack.
I'm not going to take it so you can get mad at me.
Nothing really super stands out. Like, Professor of Zoomance is a fine beater. You'll want to beware of lesson cards, but taking a red-white lesson first pick isn't that great. I like Agonizing Remorse. It's not really all that powerful. Yeah, there's just a mix of stuff. Reflecting Golem is not bad if you can build around it in like a white-black aggro deck, but I don't really want to play Silver Quill. I just take the rare here. It's okay power-wise. Mostly just a splash or throwaway pick. I mean, I am curious what Nick was talking about with the past card that was powerful. Burying Books is a good removal spell. Tempo spell. It's fixing. Stonerise Spirit's okay. That's a good card to pick up as a lesson. Elemental. But then Prismari Command is definitely the card he was talking about. This card does a lot. Destroying an artifact, creating a treasure for fixing, dealing 2 damage, or draw 2, discard 2. It just has so much utility. It also signals to me that Nick's probably not going to go Prismari, so I'm bouncing the camera around because it's now attached to my chair as opposed to the bouncy-ass table, so hopefully it's not as... I haven't actually watched this video yet. Fractal Summoning is also good. Stormkiln Artist. Some good white-black spells to signal Silver Quill. I like Serpentine Curve in a spells deck. Maybe I overvalued Stormkiln Artist here. It's the card I picked. The Treasure's good if you're going 3-color, which I think I ended up doing. I can't remember. And then it can grow as you cast spells. It's probably not that powerful. I think alternatively I could have taken Serpentine Curve if I was expecting to go Prismari. There's 4 mana for likely a decent sized. You get a foil one. I was considering taking a second one, but I think 2 is definitely overkill. Insured Prophecy is good. Heated Debate is like a very good spell in this format. Just 3 mana, deal 4 to anything at instant speed, and it can't be countered. It's just bananas.
I think it ends this weekend.
Oh wait, it's still going on?
Yeah, definitely skipping that up.
Next week is Scattercoat. Maybe.
Also pretty good signal by pick 3 or 4, whatever this was, that red isn't super open to my immediate right.
We're going to Scattercoat next week.
Oh, you're gonna do me like that, man? Jeez. Oh.
Yeah, so looking back, I'm potentially going Jeskai, splashing white. Splashing blue. Likely I would need to start picking up some fixing, which there are some dual lands, there are some spells that can fix. The treasures I have can make with 2 different cards I make treasures are pretty good.
Yeah, Chris Calderon.
I love Strixhaven because of the Mystical Archives. I love the little twist it adds to every pack that you can just get something that wasn't, you know, directly designed for the format. Just like a generically useful spell.
I was like, wow. You know, when you're young too, you know what I mean? Shit, I don't know how old they are specifically.
Chris is 35 or 36.
Seeing another Serpentine Curve. Mage's Duel is an okay removal spell in green. If you're going kind of beefy creatures, another Intro to Prophecy. Quandrix Cultivator is interesting. I think I am leaning towards the spell deck, so I take the Serpentine Curve. Dragon's Approach is also an interesting card in that it's worth a few bucks. So if you have a deck that you want to collect them for, then you can certainly pick them up in a draft. I am considering the Intro to Prophecy because you do want to have 1 or 2 decent lessons in the lesson board if you are able to pick up some learn cards. I think surprisingly you pick up the learn cards over the lessons because the learn cards still rummage if you don't have a lesson. And the learn cards are also really good. Oh, I took the strategic planning? No. No, I definitely take the Serpentine Curve here. It often just makes a 3 or 3/3 or 4/4, but it can late game it can make you 7/7s and 8/8s. It's very very good.
Josh, is that you?
It's like you want to play 1, 2, and 3 drop instants and sorceries to clear the board or draw you cards and then finish with that.
Break your phone every time.
It's kind of how the spell stack, like Izzet or whatever, can finish the game, in that it doesn't have a lot of efficient creatures for the most part, but it can make big fractals. Prismari Campus is fixing. Pillar Drop Warden's okay. Letter of Acceptance. Yeah, it's pretty easy, Prismari Campus. Intro and Annihilation's not a bad sideboard or lesson board card, but I'm pretty solidly planted in Prismari at this point. Potentially splashing white for that Venerable creature. It's not really worth a splash, to be honest. The 3 mana 3/3 Vigilance and Trample is above curve, but its ability to return creature cards back, and I wasn't planning on having a ton of creatures. Combat Professor's good. Another Dragon's Approach. Reject. Practical Research. Pigment Storm. I guess I was worried about having enough removal. And that I would need some good red removal spell. That the Research probably was a pretty good alternative to that. But Pigment Storm deals with most threats in the format. And can burn the opponent to boot.
You're gonna play the Mr. California deck.
No way. Only 5 colors in Magic? That's pretty good, Bob.
Good job.
The store owner Bob joined us for this draft. He came back to the store for pre-release
I
weekend.
remember when I pulled a Mana Vault. What was that set where there was the Expeditions, Josh?
Oh.
So, and I didn't set before that. What do you want?
Usually just comes to draft and play the first round and then concede to just get a little taste of the draft. Arcane Subtraction, Spirit Summoning is a good lesson board card. It's also fine main deck. Like 3 mana 3/2 as a spell is not bad in the deck I'm trying to build. And I don't really need to play white to play it either. Just 1 red. But Arcane Subtraction would otherwise not be that good, but having Learn tacked onto it makes it playable.
Expedition Blue to Delta. I'm like, you gotta take this. He goes, no, they're not my color. I don't like it.
But yeah, I'm not even following my own advice in that you take the Learn cards over the lesson, but I think here the lesson I could play main board. That's a pretty reasonable main board lesson.
Take that. It doesn't matter what
It's not amazing, but it kind of helps my Serpentine Curve strategy.
Who was it that passed the Blue to Delta foil when we were first opening cons? Andy Long.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's like a $90 card. Like, you gotta. Yeah, he did. I bought one of them from him.
Our fetches too for the longest. Andy was opening fetches like every pack.
Ooh, excuse me. Yeah, I'm still open to white at this point. I would need to see something good, maybe as a multicolor card, to make me really want to commit to Jeskai. I suppose I'd also consider going Jeskai if blue-red dried up somehow.
I just want to see rare.
Because white-red lore holds pretty reasonable. I think it's underrated. Some of the cards in it tend to go longer because people tend to play the other schools more than World. Another learn spell, 2-drop blocker. And then the Archway is good if I really am trying to go 3 colors. I suppose being more of a spells deck, I'm not as interested in the Pledge Mage, just because mostly it's going to block. It'll get to attack. Maybe I should have taken the... And there's another one, Strategic Planning. Strategic Planning really helps with the strategy I'm going for with spells. Then it finds me a card that I want, potentially fixes, and dumps the rest into the graveyard. That's the most important part. Now, from my experience playing in this other arena, especially Quick Draft, is you either play Silver Quill or some Teamer pile of garbage. Black-green sometimes too.
Yeah, like I'll draft him and I
And he just goes to sleep.
Not anything here I'm super excited about. I'm not not splashing Guiding Voice or Thrilling Discovery. Field Trip is good if you're in green.
I just
Team Pennant, I'm on
you
the
know how it is
fence
this time
about
of year,
because
we're like it's
+1/+1
hot, we're working
Vigilance
a
to
lot, you know what I mean?
trample,
You're working
but
a lot of hours,
equipping
and
to
that's what
tokens
makes
like
it
Fractals
easy
is good
to
too.
do. Tough to do.
I think I brought it out of the sideboard once in the matches, but and another Prismari Pledge Mage and another strategic. Yeah, I take the Pledge Mage here. I think creature count's a little low, and I need to worry about really aggressive decks like the Silver Quill deck. On one drop, 2 drop, 3 drop removal spell, beat in,
Shit, you got-
or
you're all
1 drop, 2 drop,
Yeah.
2 drop, and then a 1 drop removal spell like Lash of Malice or whatever.
Yeah,
I've been
otherwise
attaching
you
it to the
can't hold
table.
it still, you know what I mean? It's gotta be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
it's
table
not wobbling
on
as
the
much. Not as much as last week's. Good lord.
Last week, first victory on camera.
Yeah.
Finally overcame my camera fear.
Pillow Drop Warden's good. It's a good blocker if I'm trying to go long. I don't think I ended up playing it, but
I hate fucking cameras.
I had a lot of choices for main deck
Your hands
playables.
start going up like Ricky Bobby.
No, I'm like, oh, I'm losing. Straight. Somerset?
It's funny, I don't ever think I've ever factored in the camera being on to me losing. I think me losing on camera, I don't care. It's Friday Night Magic. Honestly, if I do lose, I end up getting paired with players with lower records, so either their decks aren't as good or they haven't been playing as well, so I have a greater chance of winning the next one. It's,
One card out.
sometimes I just draft garbage decks. Sometimes it's inevitable, like you're just in a seat that's has no good cards, or people are accidentally or intentionally sabotaging your draft.
Alright. Attack 2.
Some last minute pickups, nothing really I plan on playing.
Like I said, take token out.
He's got you on camera in case you cheat. It's a wide angle.
Nick tries accusing me.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I choose.
Cheats. Nick is a known cheater.
Peek the
I forgot
Snakeskin
this makes it
Veil.
diffy, unfortunately, diffy.
Why me?
Wow.
Nothing good in my colors so
have any
far.
agency over that.
Elemental Summon for the sideboard. Snow Day is good. I see Tanzer Quandrix. I was talking about
Maybe
Teamer
I'm just
piles,
gonna take
and
that.
green is not that hard to splash.
Robert, thank me later. You hear me?
Yeah, at this point, I think I just shove white out of any potential option for playability. Just go. And I already have the Archway Commons too. Kind of decided early that I was probably splashing a third color.
We're taking tokens out, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
But Tanzer's really good, especially in fractal decks. Oh my god. I turn this 6/6 into a 12/12. And then it attacks as a 16/16 because it makes base power toughness. Yeah. Absurd fractal deck.
I hate
Could see building an EDH deck with him. Alright, so still blue-red, considering splash green, shock. I always love having a good shock in the deck. Still eye and learn board cards. Return Pass Caller, if I was going Jeskai still, is pretty reasonable. 6 mana, 4/2 flyer that gets me a spell back from the
I
graveyard.
get something you do need though.
But again, decks can be very aggressive in this format, so taking a shock is
I already know because I looked at your list. Yep.
much better security than taking another 3-color card I'm not playing, probably.
Not drafting for you and Bob, it seems.
Can I ask what the card's value is?
There's no card over $10.
Unless it's Mr. Archive. Fairies Protection?
That one, yeah. Yeah, take that one.
Oh, this camera's choosing to blur out.
You can
Yeah.
pass it. If you want to. I'm like not gonna say no to that card.
It's the best
but
commander card.
If I'm gonna be honest.
That's the 4-drop? Or 3-drop, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, whatever. I don't have no patience for blurry
It's also dramatic too.
technical difficulties tonight. I do like pre-release weekend. I'm less of a fan of sealed than I am draft, just because sealed is just kind of like you got your deck already. There's not a lot of options. I mean, suppose when you're drafting, you have a seat. You know, you have the colors in your seat. You should be drafting, but there's less choice. It just kind of builds
They're nice. They're like the card.
the most obvious
I
deck
wanna
in your
get,
colors. Another Pigment Storm. Spell's good. If I was going white, which I'm not.
I like a lot of Jordan.
Honor Troll, Eye Twitch. Yeah, nothing really great. Another Pigment Storm's fine. I think the second one is definitely worse. It's 5 mana sorcery speed. But off the top of your deck, it's a pretty reasonable way of pushing through some damage. And of course, sitting to the immediate left of Nick, he cuts cards in colors that he's not playing because he knows it'll weaken the people's decks around him. I don't really do that. I'd rather incentivize someone to continue to take those colors, and I think it's less likely I'm going to either encounter them or encounter those cards. So I'd rather have a stronger deck myself than take power from somebody else's. Especially when there's 14 people and four rounds.
Chicken tiki masala. Or the tandoori. Yep. Or deep tandoori. Yeah, one of those.
Teaker.
Tandoori is like an actual piece of chicken, like.
I haven't had Shalimar in forever. They definitely have some good chicken.
Yeah. We're still over.
Alright. Not anything I'm interested in. Fuming Effigy's good. Whirlwind, Frost Trickster. Good tempo, Windrake. Yeah, if it weren't for the Trickster, I'd probably take the Whirlwind Denial. Play more of a long game. Get more spells in the graveyard.
I haven't been there in a long time.
And the first time I went there was my first
This is the first place
few
they
months at
had,
Albany.
Indian food.
What else we got here? More Silver Quill cards. I know Josh to my immediate left wants Silver Quill. I guess he couldn't take them all. The Spirit, the 3/2 lesson is kind of hard to run main board in a teamer deck. So I think Rejector is reasonable. Those I like having 1/2 mana counter spell that can
I did.
hit some early creatures, and planeswalkers. Which are there planeswalkers in
Ask
Strixhaven?
Chris where Porcupine.
There have to be. They don't have formats without planeswalkers. I don't think they would have also put the word planeswalker on a spell
Like we're
in
yeah.
draft if they didn't have some planeswalkers.
In trees.
Oh yeah, that's right. They do go in trees. You're right. I see. I don't do it.
So a lot of cards I already have,
Waynesburg.
except for Burying Books. I don't have one of those, and those are
They
pretty
can
good.
rip shit up too. They'll bite the bark off your trees.
Yeah,
You know what I
they
mean?
eat bark, that's what they do.
Oh yeah, them
Little
little
shitheads.
fuck. They were chewing up log cabins up in. Forget where I was treating them.
Can they shoot quills? Is that
No,
the video?
no,
It's just
no,
kind of they come
no,
out when they get.
They kind of poof up, and then those become, instead of like kind of floppy, you know what I mean? They like straighten out, so you're more apt to like,
Stick yourself.
yeah.
Why are
They're
you
tough
blurring
animals.
camera?
Everything,
Stop
pretty
blurring.
much everything avoids them for a reason. They're like, nah. Them and skunks. Some animals will mess with
Skunks
skunks,
can
but
shoot
skunks will
stuff.
fuck your day up.
Like that. That way we know which order they want to.
Why is the camera going blurry, bud? Can you explain?
What number slip
It's
card is that?
okay.
Bob? Jeff needs
So
some
bad,
numbers.
Josh. Why is it so bad? I just said, hey, this is good.
It's probably trying to autofocus. I'll have to check that out after.
I think that's like $4 or $5.
I have a bunch of games and stuff and books on the shelf behind me, DVDs. It's probably trying to read the words.
Natural order.
Natty? It's a good fucking card, I'll tell you that much.
15?
Natural order, you think? 15?
It got
It
down there.
is.
Kind of surprising there's not that much that's worth money in Strixhaven. I know like the dual face cards are kind of
I was
due to butter, but
I did like 9 buttons just to get to it. Like it's like
Demonic
this one?
Tutor,
No, this one?
Teferi's Protection.
I forgot we could open Demonic Tutor.
Yeah.
Got a board wipe in white. Intro to Prophecies, good sideboard still.
All these
I think I definitely
cases.
need that Quandrix campus for fixing.
Demonic Tutor 43.
Otherwise, I'd take the 3 drop
These days, I'm gonna open up a shop right next to
lesson.
the house, just to put him out of business. No, I'm just joking.
He won't be here. It'll be me and Landon.
I want to get in this business.
This is Bob's vacation right
The
now.
margins are unique on new products.
Spell Satchel, Another pillow drop board,
what
arcane
I'm saying,
subtraction,
Bob.
elemental summoning. Yeah, I think I know I have a few learn cards,
They're unfairly bad.
so I want to pick up some more lessons.
The margin on prices.
On products. On Magic products. Like especially, specifically new products. You know.
Yeah, you hear that a lot, that LGSs don't make a ton of money off of their Magic products. Very slim margins.
That should have flying.
Ciao. Snapchat.
Another Pigment Storm, another Prismari, a lot of duplicates. I don't like resculpts. I think I'm not ever going to play a third Pigment Storm. But I could see playing 2 Prismari Pledge Mages or bringing them out of the sideboard if I'm in need of some 2 mana 3/3 blocks.
Short one. You expect splash black?
No, I just would take it.
Probably worth $20, right?
45.
Oh, really? 45?
Yeah. That and then on what's his name? Fairies protection.
What's that worth? 20?
26.
Really? Feels like that card was just printed at rare. 2-drop creature, letter of acceptance. Letter of acceptance not too bad. It replaces itself, fixes and ramps.
A lot of stuff wasn't open during
Nothing in this pack I'm going to play. I'm very heavily seated into
dragons. They're not worth much, but people can't find
blue,
them.
red with splash of green. Nothing white came by that was just like incredible or worth splashing for. So, like a lore hold command or something. If I'd opened one of those, I definitely would have considered going back to Jeskai or 4 colors.
Cards. I even got the secret lair for it too.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna order the talisman for the secret lair.
Illustrious Historian is the only good card here. I think it's pretty reasonable. I have a decent number of ways of getting cards into my graveyard. It gives me some graveyard utility, but I do only have 1 Serpentine Curve up to this point, so it's not like I'm gaining a lot of huge benefit for having instants and sorceries in the graveyard.
Oh, Lord.
Someone got a planeswalker because it's.
Oh, right, Luca.
This is like
Yep.
a triple mythic pack. Get out of here.
Oh,
Focus, 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 focus. Jesus. Also noticed a lot of these cards are damaged right out of the pack too. This box is scuffed up.
You gotta walk this way?
Eureka Moment's good. I'm already in that splash.
Walk this way?
The Cultivator. Leonin Light Scribe's not. It's a very specific aggro deck that you play that in. Another Berry's fine, but I think splashing for Eureka Moment's good. It can ramp, it puts a spell in the graveyard, and draws cards more importantly.
For either side. Fuck you.
Conturious is not too bad in the right deck. Another Quandrix Campus would help. Elemental Masterpiece. I think my deck is missing like powerful ways to finish the game. It's got a lot of removal and setup, but I think the Masterpiece making a couple 4/4s and being able to fix in an emergency is not too bad. Another removal spell in red, premium. Creative Outburst is not bad too. It's very expensive. But since I'm already trying to get to that late in the game, another Masterpiece. I think the Outburst is good, but I do fear the aggro decks and getting run over early is more probable at this type of pod group. A lot of players play aggro. I was really happy to see Environmental Sciences here because it's a really good main deck or sideboard in a 3-color deck for sure. Not really seeing much else. Yeah, snap picking that up.
Gonna have to be a 3-color band.
Yeah, maybe I'm overrating that spell a little bit, but I don't have a ton of learn cards, so I don't have a ton of way of fishing out of the sideboard. Another Dragon's Approach.
What do you got?
There's another Serpentine card. I'm very interested in that. Another
Get your colors
Sciences.
heavy. Get your color and then your.
Throw Possibility is also good for
I'm making that decision.
card
right
filtering,
now,
but Serpentine
buying
curve
this
again.
back.
I'm looking for that late game
Oh, I know what it feels
beef,
Wait, we're supposed to make good decisions?
and all the other cards don't really do that.
I haven't.
like. I like that one, the one TikTok.
Plus, I'm fine with one Environmental Sciences, but
Video on
two
the
is kind of not as
I've
good
never
as
done
the
a damn
first
good
for
thing
sure.
in my life. I've been bad my whole life. And
Now
nothing
the
bad's
Learn
happened to
spell,
me.
Curate. I think having just picked up the Serpentine curve, Curate helps fuel that quite a bit. I think in most cases with Curate, I'm not really all that interested in throwing away a good instant or sorcery into the graveyard, but it's definitely a 23rd card in most decks that are similar to mine. Spells matter.
Josh, did you get something spicy out of there?
It's good that it's an instant unless you hold up tricks and counter
You
spells.
didn't tell them about the price of that card. You were about to get something spicy right there. It's a Fairy's Protection. Shit, straight. I gotta go pull some of them out of like my dollar rares.
What?
Dollar rares? I don't think Deferi's Protection was ever under $50 until recently.
I know I got some.
Ardent Death Speaker's good. Pop Quiz is good.
It was like a $2 card.
Divide by Zero, much better.
They've always been 50 plus
There's a lot of good cards in here for my deck.
for the longest.
Oh, that's
I think Ardent Death Speaker's a little heavy. Pop Quiz is good, but Divide by Zero is
Commander players need them.
Yeah.
a good tempo draw spell.
Trouble.
Now, kind of being in a pod that's pretty aggressively plays aggro decks, having instant speed interaction's good.
Because you're a scoundrel.
Good for dealing with pump spells and getting KO'd out of nowhere.
Well, don't do anything illegal around this kid.
Yeah, I still think Tanzir is a pretty reasonable splash in a deck that I just have a ton of
Fuck around and give me 13.
blue-red spells in already.
Good.
13's too many for you guys.
Good.
I have trouble not drafting removal. Like when I see it, it's like, this creature's
Depends on how
okay, but
efficient
I'll
it
take
is.
this.
There's certain removal spells that are higher tiered.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think it has
That's
diminishing
probably
Yeah.
like a little token taken out of
I think
Ben's,
removal has
It does.
diminishing returns. You need to
No,
kill the
yeah.
opponent with something.
True. Very true. It's just tough.
Not much in this pack I'm interested in. The Campus Guide, it's a good alternative fixer. I don't think I like the Historian as much though, and I don't have a ton of options here. Yeah, it's an interesting thought. It's like in limited, at which point does removal, is it not good? Because you're not getting a ton of hyper efficient removal. You're not getting a ton of Doom Blades. You're getting a ton of like 5 mana deal 4 or like destroy target creature, toughness 4 or greater stuff, and it's like
Right in
Define
the-
shit. Leave him crippled. I'll hit him in the leg so hard I'll call him an ambulance.
Do it.
take the Leyline Invocation for the same
Do it
reason
and
I
don't bleed.
like the other spells that make fractals. It just synergizes the deck really well, synergizes with Tanzir Quandrix.
Shut your mouth, that came around. Are you recording?
You can swear. I'm not policing people's
Well, I
behavior.
mean, sometimes like then you can't put your stuff where.
The only behavior I will police is stuff that you shouldn't be doing at an LGS to begin with, like certain language or behavior that is not inclusive to the people playing there.
This card is okay.
It's rarely encountered, but it does happen.
Okay,
I haven't
well,
had to
wasn't
do
sure
anything
if
to my
it was
videos
zombie
yet,
or
but I think I
something.
will this week.
It's a beast.
Are you feeling the same way?
Some people can be toxic.
literally just
Creative
watched
Outburst came back. I was surprised, honestly.
In all different areas. Yeah, I did.
Especially since I picked up some heavy, the 6-drop Invocation. I think Creative Outburst is a pretty reasonable pickup. Teach by Example is kind of fine. It's a little tricky. So I take the 2-drop that can fix, especially since I have 3 green spells at this point, that having more fixing is always welcome.
I think like cursing can affect like if you can market your videos to kids, which might affect
Okay.
advertiser. Oh,
Sure.
I'm not doing this for money, so
No.
yeah, something thing to do because I'm bored.
I am bored.
I personally just
I'm bored, but I'm also
Yeah, they
busy.
put,
It's
Jordan
stupid.
in, PGA 2K23.
Like a lot of content creators can.
Hey, he's starting a golf
Well,
league.
a lot of the big stream content creators are able to devote
Tiger's gonna be in
tons
it.
of time and resources to it
It's gonna
because
be PGA.
it is basically a job to them. But I also have a job
It's only golfing it.
that I do in addition to all this. So
Gambles, they say $250,000 a hole.
I believe it. If someone's up to
I
willing
got
to
a
put
job,
that
I
money
got
out,
exercise, I got stuff I do on the weekends. I just squeeze in as much time and keep it as low
That's
effort
all
as
he enjoys
possible.
this game, though.
No, I know.
Environmental science is good. I'll keep one on the sideboard for emergency fixing.
I don't blame him. He's actually pretty good at golf too.
No, he is good at golf.
I've gotten pretty efficient with the draft or the gameplay videos. Those are the ones that take the longest.
One of the very few
Take
people
anywhere
that
between
can,
30 minutes to an hour per video just to add all the cards in. And
like basketball wise, no, is
Steph Curry's pretty
Larry
fucking good
Bird.
at golf. Oh,
for the
really?
cards, they'd be done in like 5 minutes,
Yeah,
but
Bird's
getting
good.
card images is important. Just some last
Bird talks
picks.
no shit when he golfs.
Bird?
Nothing
Yeah,
super
those guys are
surprising.
good.
The low priority cards that you get in draft.
Michael Jordan will punch you in the face over nothing.
He did to Steve Kerr.
Sure did.
And last pick, historian.
Playing the ball.
I took a
Wasn't playing
risk
the
and
game
it
right.
paid off.
That was a pretty good one.